Hey everyone, welcome back to Apollo Art Analysis. This episode will be studying a piece by the established multidisciplinary artist known as Agastya Chaturvedi. This episode we're going to be talking about stylistic texture, we're going to talk about testing patterns, and we're also going to talk about the duality of the yin and yang. So let's jump right into it. So whenever you first see this work, really met with this lone subject, what appears to be a dragon guarding this small egg in center right. The viewer's first impression is likely one of awe due to such a striking sight before them here. And so you'll see how texture is conveyed here quite well, right? See, especially most prominently on the form of our main subject, but there are textures all throughout the work, right? We see a bit of texture on the egg, we see a bit of texture in that background as well, introducing a bunch of visual energy into the composition. It really is quite iconic to kind of the style, of course, surrealism and symbolism of the original artist here, and so absolutely stunning. We love to see that. In the realm of color, you see this kind of a base analogous scheme, right? You have kind of this bluish green, a little bit of purple there as well, so the main foundation I would point to is going to be that blue-green. It's kind of turquoise, it's kind of blue here. So of course an analogous scheme blending together quite brilliantly, but within that there's just a diverse range of colors. So you have orange, you have that red, of course we talked a little bit about that purple, magenta, you have so many different colors within the work at hand, also that yellow, that gold, and all of these different colors also give us an incredible sense of visual energy as well. You're just not going to miss that here. What you'll also notice is our subject is kind of contained within the frame here. It's almost as if we've captured the essence of the dragon itself here. This is quite interesting. It's reminiscent of prehistoric and ancient art in a lot of different ways, or the idea of totemism. We're going to take a quick look at some references, see what we can learn real quick. Alright, so I got two references here, actually both from the prehistoric period. What I want you all to look at is the idea of totemism here. The idea is essentially, well, to put it quite simply, if you can capture the image of a beast or a person or an animal or even an idea inside of an image, there's the idea that you capture the essence or the soul of that as well. So we certainly see this here. There's this idea that if you can capture, say, a bull in the Hall of the Bulls at Lascaux, or here you can kind of capture the essence of that person who has come by. So all the way from prehistoric art, all the way to ancient Egypt, the idea of Ba and Ka, so many different examples of totemism. It's incredibly important, all the way, of course, to the contemporary landscape today with Chaturvedi. It feels as if we've kind of captured the essence of the dragon within that there. So there's a bit of totemism we could point to, which you'll notice, of course, we see a dragon guarding an egg. You're not going to miss that here. So one wouldn't be too far off in pointing to themes of kind of kinship, protection, or anything like that as well. We absolutely love to see that. What you'll notice, of course, the egg is actually the central element of the work at hand, right? You would point to this and see the kind of adult dragon as the main subject, but it's actually the egg. And the egg is one of the most ancient and oldest symbols that we use. After all, it is one of the purest examples that we have of potential itself, right? The egg has the potential to grow into something much larger, right? So it's grown to become a symbol of kind of potential and everything associated with that. One thing I want you all to notice, and you probably already have, are these two dots in center right that looks kind of strange. And what those are actually testing patterns. That's also going to be the title of the work at hand, right? So a testing pattern, there's a few different ways you could think about this. First we're going to set it up a bit with the idea of culture. So what is culture? Well, culture is kind of a light of tradition, a light of ritual, or anything that kind of helps you in the unknown future, right? So culture, whether it's tradition, whether it's habit, whether it's ritual, so many different things that really make up the culture that we live in. And of course, culture is all around the world. And so within this, the preservation of culture through time is really what gives culture its definition, right? To preserve that fully is to kind of continue on that culture and to, of course, ingrain it into the next person as well. So the title of this work as testing patterns hints at that quite a lot, right? In cultures, we look around us for different, mannerisms, different behaviors, and different things to show us that they are sane or of a similar or of course common culture, right? So there's a sense of unity within that. And that cultural code, we always look for that, whether it's, all the way down to the lowest level, kind of DNA copying itself and kind of perpetuating itself, all the way to say something like, ants kind of going up into each other, bumping heads and kind of exchanging pheromones, if you will. Those are all kind of similar ideas in a lot of different ways. In the modern day, of course, in so many different cultures, the icons that you look up to is going to really inspire a lot of imitation. So whenever you look at a culture, look at their icons and you can get a lot of insight about that culture. So the title of this work as testing pattern really gives us that insight, right? We have the egg, and of course is going to grow up to become the adult. The adult in this case is going to be that icon, right? And so the egg adult life cycle is one of the most ancient ones that we can point to, right? It's that kind of constant cycle of the cosmos. And with that in mind, we got to talk about the yin and yang. So the yin and yang is really what I kept pointing to so many times. Even when I saw this, I saw a kind of yin and yang or a duality within that. So the yin and yang, you can point to so many different things: day and night, good and evil, birth and death, all the way to, of course, life and death, egg all the way to adult. So many different chaos and order. There's so many different things you could point to with the yin and yang. So one wouldn't be too far off in kind of noting that themes here as well, right? You have the egg, which is of course one side, then you have the growth of the adult, which is the other. There's this constant cycle where it's just chasing and chasing and chasing. That's really the cycle or the order of the cosmos that we always point to. It's absolutely sacred, it's absolutely historic, and it's such an important symbol to truly bring up here. So yin and yang, always remember to point to that, especially when you see things like this, whether it's kinship, any type of dual symbolism, it's almost always going to work with, say, the yin and yang or duality itself, right? So we absolutely love to see that. And with this in mind, what do y'all see when you view this piece? How do you feel when you view this work? What do these kind of elements kind of play in, and how do you think those really work to get the experience that you're feeling now? Really important questions. There's a ton of symbolism within the work at hand. Like I said, I could talk for 20 more minutes about the idea of kinship and protection and kind of the upbringing of all of that, but we're not going too deeper on that. Really hope y'all enjoyed today. This is a digital illustration. If y'all looked at this for a bit, y'all could probably notice that there's a lot of layers to the work at hand, right? You just go deeper and deeper and kind of fall within the work at hand. Absolutely stunning work. It's actually probably going to be one of my favorites due to how complex the symbolism is here, right? I first looked at this and I saw testing pattern, and I was like, oh, is this just like a simple texture study? What is he doing here? But when I was getting some more insights about the work at hand, I realized it was so much deeper than I first imagined. So absolutely love this work. It's so striking and truly, truly stuck with me. So I hope y'all enjoyed. If y'all did, go check out the original artist, Agastya Chaturvedi, also known as Map Factory or Bontisan, if y'all want to go check that out. Always doing some amazing stuff, in so many different mediums. He works with physical paint, he works with, the most common is going to be digital illustration, so many different things you can point to there. So truly hope y'all enjoyed, and I hope y'all check out the original artist. My name is Apollo. This was Apollo Art Analysis, and I'll see y'all on the next episode. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you'd like to support our work directly, please check out our Apollo community tokens. Apollo Art Exchange is an ecosystem of art appreciation which elevates artists each and every day. Thanks for listening.